Meghan Markle is set to be honoured for her work championing women and undeserved communities at a major gala event in LA. Riley Sullivan is a lifestyle reporter here at skynews.com.au and he's always across the latest celebrity.
It's a Friday night on the Graham Norton Show, one of the BBC's crown jewels, where celebrities go to charm the masses with their carefully curated personas. But tonight, something different is brewing. Tonight, Meghan Markle, the Duchess of Sussex, becomes the punchline of a joke so sharp, so surgical, that it sends shockwaves across the Atlantic to her Montecito mansion.
About this Meghan Markle update, she's going to be honoured for her work championing women and undeserved communities at the prestigious Natural History Museum of Los Angeles Gala later this month. What's the story behind the decision to give this award to Meghan?
Graham Norton, with a smirk that could cut glass, calls her a mini Brigitte Macron, a scaled-down version of France's poised First Lady, but with less charm and a whole lot more PR. The audience erupts in laughter. And back in California, Meghan, we're told, completely loses it. This isn't just a quip. This is a public unmasking, a moment that strips away the illusion Meghan has spent years building. Welcome to the latest chapter in the Sussex saga, a tale of image, humiliation, and the brutal court of public opinion. It's March 2025, and Meghan Markle is at a crossroads.
Kind of an interesting decision. As we know, I didn't really see an immediate link between the Natural History Museum of Los Angeles and Meghan Markle. It was sort of unclear the connection. I think that the award is ostensibly to honour her work supporting communities and women. I don't really see a connection here. You know, I think
once hailed as the modern face of the royal family, a breath of fresh air who would drag the monarchy into the 21st century, she's now a polarizing figure. Her post-royal career has been a roller coaster of high-profile deals and even higher-profile flops. There was Archetypes, her Spotify podcast that promised feminist empowerment but was widely panned as preachy and out of touch, cancelled after one season. Then came With Love, Meghan, her Netflix cooking show that was supposed to be her big comeback, a chance to show the world she's more than a royal runaway. But critics called it bland, staged, and painfully self-indulgent. There's nothing there, wrote one reviewer in The Guardian. It's all lighting filters and empty platitudes. And now, just when she thought she could pivot to philanthropy, set to be honored at the Natural History Museum of Los Angeles Gala for her work with women and underserved communities, this happens. Graham Norton, a household name in British entertainment, decides to take a swing, and it lands hard. Let's break down the moment. Graham Norton is no stranger to cheeky humor, but this wasn't a throwaway line. It was calculated. Meghan Markle, he says, pausing for effect as the audience leans in. She's like a mini Brigitte Macron, isn't she? Only with a bit less charm and quite a lot more PR. The crowd roars. For those who don't know, Brigitte Macron is France's First Lady, a woman of elegance, influence, and substance. She's advised on education reform, navigated the cutthroat world of French politics, and carried herself with a quiet dignity that commands respect. To be compared to her might sound flattering at first glance, but Norton didn't stop there. Mini Brigitte Macron, he said, mini, a knockoff, a try, hard. Not the real thing, but a pale imitation, someone playing dress up with power they haven't earned, and the kicker, more PR in one fell swoop. Norton exposed what many have whispered for years, Meghan's entire persona, from her Instagram stories to her Netflix specials, is a carefully manufactured product, polished to perfection but hollow at its core. Now, let's talk about why this stung so badly. Meghan Markle has built her post-royal identity on control. Every move is orchestrated, every soundbite rehearsed. She's the queen of curation, whether it's the soft, focused lighting of her Netflix show, the motivational quotes she sprinkles into interviews, or the way she's tried to position herself as a global advocate for change. But beneath the glossy veneer, there's a growing sense of unease. Her projects keep failing to connect. Archetypes was supposed to rival Oprah. It barely made a dent. With love, Meghan was meant to make her the next Martha Stewart. Instead, it became a meme, with viewers mocking her awkward attempts at relatability. Like dancing in an Instagram story wearing a cap that says "Let us remain calm," and then there's the public perception. According to a YouGov poll from May 2025, only 20% of the British public have a positive view of her, while 65% view her negatively. Her image isn't just cracking, it's crumbling. And Graham Norton's comment was the sledgehammer that brought it all down. Insiders say Meghan was watching the episode from Montecito, surrounded by her team of PR handlers. When Norton delivered his line, the room reportedly went silent. Then came the meltdown. Sources close to the Sussexes describe a spiral of rage, Meghan pacing the room, furious, humiliated, barking orders at her team to do something. She allegedly called her media contacts, demanding they spin the story, while others in her camp urged her to stay quiet, knowing there was no way to claw this one back. This wasn't a tabloid rumor she could brush off as fake news. This was prime time BBC, a platform with millions of viewers, and Graham Norton, a man who spent decades perfecting the art of satire, had just reduced her to a punchline. The audience's laughter wasn't just a reaction, it was a verdict. Meghan Markle, the untouchable Duchess, the feminist icon, the global changemaker, was now officially a joke. But let's dig deeper. Why did this hit her so hard? To understand that, we need to talk about Meghan's obsession with her image. Since stepping away from the royal family in 2020, she's been on a mission to redefine herself. She wanted to be seen as a leader, a visionary, someone who could change the world through her platform. But every step of the way, she's been dogged by criticism that she's more style than substance. Her podcast was called Overproduced. Her Netflix show was labeled shallow. Even her charitable efforts, like her and Harry's work during the Los Angeles wildfires, have been overshadowed by accusations of self-promotion. And then there's the elephant in the room, her relentless PR machine. Meghan's team is notorious for micromanaging her narrative, from staged paparazzi shots to carefully worded statements. But the more she tries to control the story, the more the public sees through it. And Graham Norton's comment cuts straight to the heart of that contradiction. Mini Brigitte Macron wasn't just a joke, it was a judgment. Meghan isn't a leader, she's a brand, and not a very convincing one. The fallout was swift. Clips of Norton's quip went viral, racking up millions of views on X and TikTok. Memes exploded across the internet. Meghan's face photoshopped onto a tiny Brigitte Macron, captioned with more PR, less charm. Commentators piled on, "She's not a duchess anymore. She's a caricature," wrote one columnist in the Times, and the public, they lapped it up. The laughter on the Graham Norton Show wasn't an outlier, it was the sound of a dam breaking. For years, Meghan has positioned herself as a victim of the media, a misunderstood trailblazer fighting against injustice, but that narrative is wearing thin. The public isn't buying it anymore. They don't see a pioneer, they see a reality star, clinging to relevance with glossy Netflix deals and overpriced jam jars. And entertainers like Graham Norton, who once gave her the benefit of the doubt, are now joining the roast. The spell is broken, the curtain's been pulled back. And behind it, there's no magic, just marketing. So where does this leave Meghan? Alone in Montecito, surrounded by yes men and Instagram filters, seething as the world laughs. She's reportedly considering a response, maybe a podcast episode, maybe a carefully worded post, but the damage is done. This isn't something you can spin your way out of. The harder she tries to fight back, the more desperate she looks. Her next Netflix season, another installment of With Love, Meghan, is already being whispered about as a potential disaster. Early reviews call it even blander than the first, with one critic saying, "It's like watching a robot try to be relatable." And Prince Harry's cameo in the finale, a staged moment of intimacy with a warm hug and a shared meal, feels like a last-ditch attempt to salvage their image. But it's too late. The Sussexes were once hailed as disruptors, a modern couple who would rewrite the royal rulebook. Now they're PR operatives of their own dwindling fame, burning through goodwill with every failed project. Here's the harsh truth. Meghan Markle wanted to be taken seriously as a global icon, a voice for change. But Graham Norton's quip exposed the lie at the heart of her rebrand. She's not Brigitte Macron, she's not even a mini version of her. She's a duchess without a kingdom, a brand without a soul, a story without substance, and the public knows it. The laughter on that BBC stage wasn't just amusement, it was clarity. The world has moved on. The question now is, can Meghan? Or will she keep clinging to a narrative that's already slipped through her fingers? If you're as tired as I am of the endless PR stunts, the fake humility, the curated fantasy that Meghan Markle keeps trying to sell, then let's send a message. Smash that like button if you're done with the charade. Drop a comment below. Do you think Meghan can ever recover from this? Or is she officially Hollywood's biggest punchline? And share this video with anyone who still thinks she's her misunderstood genius, because this isn't gossip. This is accountability, and it's time the world saw Meghan Markle for what she really is, a mirage in a tiara, fading fast.